Ladies and gentlemen, the Zimbabwe political situation has reached another level. Yesterday we did do so. Vice President Constantino Chiwenga taking on unscrupulous businessmen. Should we even call them businessman? Then we saw the war between Kudakwashe Tagwirei and the Mogul Saviour Kasukuwere. Ladies and gentlemen, an exchange that is still happening right about now. Kasukuwere versus Kudakwashe Tagwirei. Can we call it a billionaire beef? Now, news has emerged that ZANU-PF key propagandist and Twitter firebrand, we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, the spin doctor Jonathan Moyo has returned. Have these guys called back Jonathan Moyo, the professor, to be doing something? Jonathan Moyo's return, the political comeback that nobody expected. Not only Jonathan Moyo, ladies and gentlemen, we see young Gushungo Robert Jr. Not Robert Jr., Chatunga. Chatunga should have been the one to be called Robert Jr. Chatunga is making headlines. Yes, that is Chatunga. Nema AK-47 baba. Kuprazi kwa momzi. What happened? We see terror at Mazowe mine after Chatunga Mugabe allegedly leads AK-47 raid. What happened? And what is happening? We're seeing Zimbabwe Vice President Constantino Chiwenga making headlines following his bold maneuvering yesterday. What is happening and what happens next? Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be covering all that and more on this happening political bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, happening in the nation of Zimbabwe, crossing the river Jordan. We can put it even in the words of Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, who says, gone are the days of Moses. Okay, now, Amadezechi, is it Moses or Mozipi? Anyways, let's jump in without wasting any time. Before we proceed with this video, I'd like to ask you for one favor. Make sure you click the like button and subscribe to TV7 Live if you have not yet already done so, so that you never miss enough of videos, because we make videos each and every day. we would see Kudakwashe Tagwirei talking about tenders, saying kana usina tender wakati uoma msoro.
If you are not a tenderpreneur, you are foolish. If you are not a tenderpreneur, you are foolish. There is the biggest buyer or seller in this country is government. So if you do not want to get a tender from the biggest supplier, the biggest buyer, where are you going to get your business from?
Now, in this speech or speaker is Kudakwashe Tagwirei politicking with political rhetoric. Oh, he is delivering a specific message using metaphors and imagery. Tenderpreneur, yes, in front of everybody.
So anyone who tells you that you must not get tenders is foolish. You must actually strive to get a tender from government. Those who are saying these ones are tenderpreneurs are jealous because they don't get the tenders. Because if you have the tender, you will not say you are a tenderpreneur. In fact, I would rather be called a tenderpreneur. Let me tell you this. Do you know a gentleman by the name Elon Musk? Who knows Elon Musk? Elon Musk? Elon Musk, someone? Elon Musk, the richest.
It seems Jakashika Mzeve, at one point we see some calling Kudakwashe Tagwirei Zimbabwe's very own Elon Musk. Now he is giving Elon Musk as an example.
Man in the world is a tenderpreneur because his biggest contracts are with the American government. So he won those contracts. That coining of that word was done by white people to discourage black people to get access to business from government. Now, there are two stages of business. You can be a manufacturer, you can be a trader. There is nothing wrong with you being a trader. Where you have the access to markets, you must buy from this one who does not have. Some of the biggest companies in the world, like Glencore, are traders. Vitol, traders. Trafigura, these are multi-billion companies. But their biggest contracts are with governments all over the world.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, he is talking about traders. What are traders? Are traders service providers? Are they product brokers? Let me give you a word. And the word is mercenary. Take note of that word. Mercenary. A mercenary usually vanoshanda kumuhondo nekuraya vanhu. A mercenary from the word mek, meaning money, like in Mozambique there is mametkaj, mercenary. That's where we get the word merchant. A merchant is not the one who produces, but a merchant might be the one who profits. So from the word mercenary, we get merchant. Take note of mer and chant. Chanter, like chanting. Selling. Majuda, kondri mfeso wa Jesu. Apana irane 30 pieces of silver. Then, when Judas goes with the guys to meet Jesus, he has to kiss Jesus so that the guys can identify Jesus. I wonder if the guys who crucified Jesus even knew him, because Judas had to identify Jesus for them. Now we have two words so far. We have a mercenary and merchant. Then we have this one, mercy. God's mercy. When God gives us another chance, God's mercy. So we have merchants. What do merchants do, or traders? Anyways, following this, we would see the big one. The big one.
We must shun unscrupulous so-called business people operating from briefcases with no traceable capital.
He makes it clear, so-called businesses, so-called.
Legitimate enterprise. This culture of phantom entrepreneurship, where money appears without any known source, is not only economically corrosive, but ethically bad. We all know that man does not fall from the heavens like manna. The time of Moses are no longer here. Real business are built through hard work, discipline, sacrifice, and value creation. The day of reckoning is inevitable for those who are integrity in dealing. It's coming.
The day of reckoning. Then he emphasizes to show that this is not just a speech. He says it's coming.
Built through hard work, discipline, sacrifice, and value creation. The day of reckoning is inevitable for those who undermine our economic integrity by engaging in shadowy dealings. It's coming. Let us not mortgage our nation's future for fleeting gain. Equally, imperative to this shared national and developmental vision is our collective stance on integrity and accountability.
Let us not mortgage our future for fleeting gain. Mortgage, like mortgage, what it means, mortgage, like when people get houses, you can get a mortgage from the bank. A mortgage is a loan usually used to purchase or build a residential property. Let us not mortgage our future for fleeting gains, as in, let us not enjoy now, then tomorrow we will be left with nothing. What is he referring to here? Is he referring to the Command Agriculture Treasury bills? Ladies and gentlemen, or maybe there is more. Remember, in a mortgage, the borrower repays the loan over a period of time, a long term, 5 to 25 years. Then if the borrower fails to make payment, the lender can repossess the property through foreclosure. Now in Zimbabwe, we NBS, National Building Society, CBZ, who give my mortgages. Then he talks about this.
Legitimate enterprise.
legitimate enterprise. Enterprising, getting into business, a business that operates, that is firm. Like we can have a legit, something that is not legit is illegal, illegible, that is fake. This is legit, this is OG, original.
This culture of phantom entrepreneurship.
Phantom entrepreneurship, like in phantom pregnancy. Munango dumbungane numbu, but mukati musina mwana.
Where money appears without any known source is not only economically corrosive, but ethically bankrupt.
Economically corrosive, corruption, corrugated, to take value away from. Economically corrosive. How? When a government issues tenders, the idea is national empowerment, not to build infrastructure. National empowerment, nation doanu. The terrain of Zimbabwe is not the nation is the people. So the government gives tenders. The government does projects. Can a government Chiwaka road doesn't build road so that they be a road. The government builds roads so that local people, Zimbabwean nationals, get employment. When they get employment, Maria kutenderera, there is economic activity. Javakushandisa mari yachona, do economic growth. So, tender ikapua muna isina kana company ino operator, isina kana capital, isina kana machinery, isina kana premises. Apana kutendereza kwa arukita mari mu Zimbabwe. There is no economic growth in that. Mari iyoyo ino kuna utenga baskoro kana 3 million, which is not productive.
We all know that man does not fall from the heavens like manna. The time of Moses are no longer here.
Money does not fall from heaven like manna. So where is the money coming from? That line, the times of Moses are no longer here. Do we have somebody in Zimbabwe who is benefiting, who is getting money falling like from heaven? Ladies and gentlemen, what is about to happen? Are we going to see an audit? Or maybe, remember Apostle Chiwenga speaking on the recipients of Wikneo Chivayo Kaza. What was he saying?
Real business are built through hard work, discipline, sacrifice, and value creation. Of Moses are no longer. Real business are built through hard work, discipline, sacrifice, and value creation. Real business are built through hard work, discipline, sacrifice, and value creation.
Are built through hard work, effort, discipline, and sacrifice.
The day of reckoning is inevitable for those who undermine our economic integrity by in shadowy is coming. Let us not mortgage our nation's future for fleeting gain. Equally, imperative to this shared national and developmental vision is our collective stance on integrity and accountability. As we deepen public-private partnerships and catalyze economic growth, we must decisively shun corruption.
We must decisively shun corruption. So he talks about hard work. Hard work, a lot of people think hard work means work that is very difficult. Hard work means putting effort, something that stands, consistency, that is hard work, dedicated effort toward achieving a goal is what we call hard work. Effort and perseverance, not necessarily difficult work. Not necessarily, but being steadfast. Then he adds and he says, discipline. Discipline from the word disciple. To keep on following it. Sacrifice. To put it first. And everything else comes afterwards. Like where we get the word sacred. Sacred. Sacrifice. Then we get the word secret. Then business. Business, you're running it. Now, usually tenderprenuers. Kashinji, antongono register company papo. Mangwana akutenda. Kunotoka tender. I don't know if why these guys, they don't even check to find out, kuti, is it an operating company? Is it a trading company? We hear him mention capital again. Capital. Remember when I was decapitation. We can keep a price. Good price in a gumira up. Capture. Then take the GDP per capita, gross domestic product per capita per head. Last year our GDP was 28 US dollars per head. Imagine how much is no kwana $28 per month forex. Do mariatika ena last year senyika. The products yatika budisa. What did each and every Zimbabwean contribute? And the money we're supposed to be using for economic growth, expansion, things like that. Where is it going? Now, in this video, we see Vice President Chiwenga underscoring internal conflict within the ruling ZANU-PF party, issuing stern caution to briefcase businessmen and tenderprenuers during his address at the National Chamber of Commerce, ZNCC, held from the 25th to the 28th of June 2025, directly confronting all those who are in such dealings. Chiwenga has a military past, and we see he has a pivotal role in the 2017 coup that would oust Robert Gabriel Mugabe, and this established him as the central figure in the ongoing success, should we say dispute or speculation, with past incidents like his wife's graduation under Mugabe's watch. Then, during house arrest, adding to the complexity of what is happening right now, then we see Christopher Mchangwa would be speaking on successors every time. He doesn't take a side. He says, "Hakuna nyaya za kadaro." That is the word of Christopher Mchangwa. Anyways, before we leave this Chiwenga story, let me just explain more on the meaning of the word capital. There are many types of capital. What do you have? There is human capital. Remember, factors of production is land, labor, and wealth. Capital in banking, the usual only money is called capital in terms of banking, because they can be a capital account. Like if you want to be opening a bank here in Zimbabwe, you come with the capital, you leave it with the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. But generally, a factor of production is capital, that which makes us productive. So there is monetary capital, then there is a physical capital, like the machinery you use to run a business. It is capital. Human capital. Remember the phrase human resources. You as a person, nema oko ako, what inventory can you create? Just with your hands, what inventory can you create? From whatever, maybe from recycled materials, anything. Now, do we have anything that we call political capital? The influence, credibility. A person has the power. Yes, it is capital. Social or cultural capital, relationship, cultural knowledge. Take note, all those capital. But the guys we see getting tenders, what are their capital? Economic capital, wealth in forms of money, assets, or resources used to generate income or investment. Wealth in form of assets or resources, that is economic capital. Then apologies there, my network had dropped. A geographical capital. Now we are talking of a capital city where government institutions, including parliament and president's offices, are located. That's a geographical capital. Economical capital, wealth. Take note, it's all aligning. Now, when government releases funds to stimulate economic growth, do we have any economic growth in Zimbabwe from any money that is being released by the government? Or the government is just busy taxing people like the government is now Caesar? Vachinjire kuzona va Caesar vakomana ve government kuita kunge mawasha asashande inenge ya washen.
It's about negotiating with the manufacturer, not some middle person. So tenderpreneurship must die, so that real entrepreneurship must emerge and be supported. It's about negotiating with the manufacturer, not some middle person. So tenderpreneurship must die, so that...
Now this video is coming from Botswana, where we see Duma Boko speaking.
It's about negotiating with the manufacturer, not some middle person. So tenderpreneurship must die, so that real entrepreneurship must emerge and be supported.
He's talking about tenderpreneurship in Botswana. Tenderpreneurship must end in Botswana. What are they up to in Botswana? What are they doing in Botswana? They're building their economy.
The people who speak the most about corruption are the most corrupt.
And the big one that was making waves, that has been making waves, Kudakwashe Tagwirei, speaking on corruption. Now today, he speaks about how he gets his tenders. Does he get them softly and tenderly? Let's go there. Then we come over to his war with Kasukuwere.
Government then called me and I went into a meeting. That's when I was asked a few questions about how I can be able to quickly come in, because APR was a security threat in the country. And that's why I was asked to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, there are two ways of being awarded tender. You go through what is called a cabinet authority. Cabinet sits and then they decide, then they award you something. 25 or so ministers, they deliberate on it, and then they award you. The second way is obviously to have a tender that comes out, and then the winner is the awarded the tender. A cabinet authority was issued, where 26 ministers said and decided that I must do an emergency power plant. The major question was, can I be able to provide it within 3 months? And in 3 months, I provided this power. I actually brought the biggest plane in Anatov 225, which landed in Harare, to provide equipment for this initiative. So, not only did I do this, the price that the Americans wanted was 3 cents more expensive than what I provided. So if I was corrupt in the right direction, because I was cheaper. So I am saying to you, if I...
3 cents more expensive, 3% more expensive. If it's 100 million, then 3 cents, 3% from centimeter. 3 cents would be what? Would be 3 million. If it's 100 million deal. If it's a 200 million deal, it's 6 million. If it's a 400, it's 12 million. If it's an 800, it's 24 million.
So when are the most corrupt? Now, have you ever seen that the president does not speak about people? I learned from the best. The president doesn't speak about people. He speaks about his vision. So I follow the president's vision. The president's vision is not about corruption. It's about building the country. Now, the people that speak about corruption are the most corrupt.
Here, Kudakwashe Tagwirei talks about building the country. Building the country. Zimbabwe is not a country. Countrysides are found maybe in the United States of America and the British Empire. Zimbabwe is a republican. not a country. So building the country, they may be having a perspective of building infrastructure and call it building the country. That is not building the country. What matters is nation building. Nation building is all that matters to create a happy people. Then, where we were.
The people who speak the most about corruption are the most corrupt. Now, have you ever seen that the president does not speak about people? The people who speak the most about corruption are the most corrupt. Now, have you ever seen that the president does not speak about people? I learned from the best. The president doesn't speak about people. He speaks about his vision. So I follow the president's vision. The president's vision is not about corruption. It's about building the country. Now, the people that speak about corruption are
hanzi vanhu vanonyanya kutaura nenyaya dzekukora ndo vanonana kunokorawo uye vakakora nekunokora kunokorei manjokwa yay corruption.
people and the young people who celebrate about where they're going forward.
So tenderpreneurship must die.
And I start to talk about his corrupt activities. I start to talk about his corrupt. If I was to stand here and deny its Moses, and I start to talk about his corrupt activities, if I was to speak about all these people, Kasukuwere is the one of the most corrupt people I know is Saviour Kasukuwere.
And then he gives names. Why would he be giving names? Usually, when somebody mentions names, you would be mentioning somebody who you know, who is close to you in a talk like this. But he mentions Tenderprenuers and Saviour Kasukuwere. Now this is serious. Mentioning names. Now we see Saviour Kasukuwere taking it to X.com. And he writes, he has paid people and telling them that ED is sick. He has been anointed. ED must come out and explain to the party and the nation if indeed he is no longer fit to lead. Those are the words of Saviour Kasukuwere. Then he writes another one. Now this one reads, when a frog wakes up in ZANU-PF Central Committee, it thinks all other positions are acquired by leaping, leapfrogging. Yeah, read them in writing. A historic party has been reduced to rent-seeking positions for sale. To a rent-seeking positions for sale party. It's one phrase there. A historic party has been reduced to a rent-seeking positions for sale party. How does a whole NPC Machacha subordinate himself to a crook, Hurombo, Huroi? Now those are strong words. Strong and calm. Coming from Saviour Kasukuwere, as he is saying, here we say it's speculation, it's speculation. As we are seeing these guys fighting for the crown, Zimbabwe's corruption crown. However, the comment from Saviour Kasukuwere is very deep and well thought. Remember, Saviour Kasukuwere is Minister of Empowerment during Mugabe's indigenization, towards the year 2015-2016. And indigenization was a success. It's reversed in 2016 when they introduced the green $2. When Mugabe fires Patrick Chinamasa, Mugabe doesn't last a week in office. He is removed via a coup. Who is the Speaker of Parliament? Jacob Mudenda is the Speaker of Parliament. Those days we would see at one time Chinamasa is made a minister of WhatsApp, things like that. Now we see him, he's powerful in ZanuPF. Of course, he has been in the ruling party for a very long time. But I have observed patterns and positions from this ministry to this ministry to this position on certain individuals. The individuals know, I'm not going to say it here, but the individuals themselves know, maneuvering from this position to this position, including our very own president. At one time, we see him in parliament as a Speaker of Parliament. Then we see him in various ministries. All those ministries, ladies and gentlemen. Now, where we are right now, the year is 2025. Corruption seekers. What should have been a corruption caucus? Corruption by now should be a carcass and should be a corpus to be buried in the graves. But it seems in Zimbabwe there is no corpus. There is only koi moin, meaning come on, command. Boss ningi. There is no cooperation. Kudakwashe Tagwirei, a big-time businessman in Zimbabwe. We see him saying some stuffs about Saviour Kasukuwere, a former ZANU-PF politician and minister, calling him corrupt. Now, Mr. Kasukuwere is clapping back, is firing back. Can we say firing back? Kasukuwere is already fired. Okay. He is firing back, saying no, Tagwirei is actually the most corrupt person he knows. So now it's a situation of, he said, isn't it what we are seeing happening in the nation of Zimbabwe? He said, Tagwirei didn't deny it. Tagwirei did not deny it. He just said, well, some people are worse than me. Isn't this like a schoolyard fight where nobody wants to back down? Kasukuwere may be upset because Tagwirei allegedly grabbed about 3 billion US dollars from the Command Agriculture Program. That's a huge amount of money. More than you can imagine. 3 billion US dollars. Ladies and gentlemen, to those watching us live right about now, can you just write in the comment, how does $1 billion look like? $1 billion in cash. Ma briefcase mangani. Ma briefcase ema 1 million mangani. To make it $1 billion, I see 10. I see 100. $1,000. $1 billion size. You know, Kwana Mugonyeti. Standard size, my tracks, Magonyeti. I told you Magonyeti. That is 1 billion. You know, Kwana Magonyeti. Tingangoti ma pallet box. Akati kurei fresh dinner. I'm not going to 8 to 10. That would be $1 billion. It's a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. Now, 100 million. Aikwani mutuma toilet kwa gate kuno kunana sengeza kuno oku. 100 million. Mari inonzi 100 million kwasa kugadzira mpeta 3, mapese mpeta 3. Uturara pamusoro pe mari. That is size, physical scale ye mari. Now $1 billion. 3 billion. 3 magonyet emari. That is the money that is being talked there. That's a huge amount of money. Now we have just visualized it. We can imagine it. Now, the top prosecutor, Justice Lois Matanda Moyo, the wife of the later S.B. Moyo, says Zimbabwe loses 2 billion every year to corruption. So corruption, Kasukuwere is not just talking. Can we say he has got some proof to back him up? Anyway, his previous government, what did they do? We still have this mall. Ever since the days in the 1995-96, where we have the Willow Gate, motor scandal, corruption in Tanga, marriage donor for the first time since independence, after 17 years, in 1997, where we would see hurumende ya kupenda ma $50 akabatana, nema $100 akabatana. In the year 1997, 1996 wachona, we see price ye chingwa ya kwira from 50 cents to 60 cents. Vambo try kupinda madola manyoane. The year 1997, cent 2 cents as chato shande papa 5 cents as shande. 50 cents ndo ishi utenga packet rema put. Kana ine dollar wa utenga packet rema put ne freeze it. 50 cents ya ingene picture yesu wa Zimbabwe. Dollar ingene great Zimbabwe. 10 cents ingene I think baobab tree. 5 cents ingene picture tsuro. I want to say that I'm going to copa so nesma star no itange nyembe military like 97. From those days takuna masantana is a therapy akutengeswa motikari dzeo remende dzautanga kutorwa nemari dzakachipa $5 $6. Depreciation. My accounts department I just say Zimbabwe never recovered. Then along came Chenjerai Hunzi. Apa pari kuchika the DRC war. Vanhu varikuenda ku DRC nemahelicopter. DRC iri kutora mari yenyika. Mawovet ari kuda land reform. Mawovet ari kuda 50,000. The guys print money. $5 here green, $2 here blue, yangene fish. $10 here red. $20 here bluish. That will be the last time we'll be seeing that money until time a trillion. Yes, sir. Until time a trillion, corruption has never ended. The same corruption that began in 1995 pakasungwa nana Kumbirai Kangai has never ended. The same attack on legit business people, like we see the attack happening on Roger Boka, Zimbabwe first black bank owner who could be trading in tobacco, whatever they do in tobacco. Tobacco sales flow, Boka sales flow. Corruption from looting to actually, is distraction. So only a devil distracts. Distraction is one of the tools of the devil. Somebody who's trying to do their own endeavor. Now, 2025, we have Zimra. Text. They want to text everything. What is a text? Text from the word tag. Text, like a royalty, is a text. A text, we can say it's a persistent expenditure on behalf of the person who is being taxed. I don't know the one receiving a tax. Do they call it an income? Because that tax is supposed to subsidize prices for Zimbabwean locals. Then there is a tax, sales tax. At what point is sales tax paid? A person is manufacturing. They are purchasing raw materials. They add value addition. Does Zimra give me back my money in terms of value addition? I don't want to go deeper in things like that. Ladies and gentlemen, what we do is we move on. Now this drama, what happens next? We see Kasukuwere responding. We see VP Chiwenga coming in with a bold message. Is this a choreographed thing? Oh, there is something happening. Personally, I have nothing against an enterprising person, a person who is a go-getter, who seeks opportunity. But those who seek to trespass or wade into funds that are meant for national development, remember, it is us, the nation, who employs the government. Now, when funds that are meant for the nation, national development, national security, leak, that is the government committing treason, like actual treason. That would be the government committing actual treason. From Kasukuwere, from Tagwirei, talking about how he gets his tenders. Now this one is an interesting one. Chatunga's AK-47 ferry. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Chatunga Mugabe. What happened? Ladies and gentlemen, did somebody cross paths with Chatunga Mugabe, and now they've decided to sue him or to take him to the court, hoping maybe they can get a little bit of something? Sadly, that is the imagination of a lot of people. Kuti ndikangonetsana chete nemunhu ari prominent or ari from a family yakati and then ndaita mari. I don't know. Anyways, let's dive into the story. I'm speculating before we get into the story. Pangonyashona inogona unge story. We see a headlines coming from my newspaper, various newspapers, like this one from Zim Live, which reads, "Terror at Mazoe mine after Chatunga Mugabe allegedly leads an AK-47 raid." AK-47 ngore futi inembiri inenge ya Vladimir Putin kana ya Xi Jinping futi yoye. Now, in a fierce display of loyalty to his family's legacy, Bellarmine Chatunga, son of the late former President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, took decisive action to protect his mother, Grace Mugabe's property in Mazoe on Wednesday. Chatunga led a group to confront security personnel at the neighboring Ultimate Mining concession, accusing them of failing to prevent illegal gold panels from trespassing onto his mother's farm. Now, this neighboring farm, would it be the gateway? While tensions escalated, resulting in injuries to some mine worker, Chatunga's action underscores the deep frustration of a son protecting his family's dignity in the face of perceived negligence. What would you do if it was your mother's farm, if it was your father's legacy? The Mugabe estate, a symbol of Zimbabwe's stories past, has faced repeated encroachments, and Chatunga's response highlights his resolve to stand firm against those who disrespect his family's boundaries. At Mazoe police station, defiance was evident as he reportedly warned that his detention would have consequences, a testament to his confidence in his family's enduring influence. Confidence, the word con is joined with the word fidelity. Consequence, con, then sequence. Now, despite the confrontation, no arrests were made, and Chatunga left the station undeterred in his mission to protect his mother's land. While the incident has drawn attention with medical costs for the injured reportedly exceeding US $2,000, Chatunga's actions reflect a son's loyalty to the family's legacy. So, ladies and gentlemen, we see the person injured and it's an X-ray. I'm just going to open the X-ray, and they say they incurred $2,000 dollars. So these people, they already, can we say these guys already had 2,000 yekutongonorapwa. Okay, this is the X-ray there. It looks like this is the lower leg. Because Trukona we're seeing those things that look like zvigunwe zvekutsoka ka shape yachona yakada kufanana nezvigunwe zvekumaoko. This is not the other bone, the thinner one. This should be the fibula, the bone that's broken there. The thinner one is the fibula, and the thicker one is the tibia. Then upper, we have femur, the femur bone. Then the hip bone. Then we have the femur. Then it's plate chemuni. She plate chemuni. She don't see as the which and a kangano manji. She no matter pekina yes. What do we call it? I'm forgetting the common name of that thing. All right, we're back again online, but dai akakwara pani manje ndo pane maona pane chibhora chibow joint patella panozi patella ndo angadai ari ma1 manje pani. How do you repair a knee? Right. Irinobata back, I mean pelvis, tipa shape. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we call it the pelvis. So we see this guy, the fibula is the one yakachikoka kuzasuku kutuzene pama ankle, the patels ekutsoka ukuku. Awa science taiverenga kuzongoshaya ma school fees ekutenga ma certificate yet. $2,000. Ya muno muzvinodhuriswa zvimaskani izvozvo zvavanoita zvima x-ray akomana, like x-ray. I don't know why those things are expensive, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, ngatiisire ipapo. Now before I sign out, what is Jonathan Moyo? Yes, sir. Jonathan Moyo. What him up to? What is he up to? Big up to everybody who's watching us live right now. Those watching us live, let me try to refresh. You can write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat so I can get serious comments so I can give you a shout out. My network is playing up, but nani because I'm using USB tethering. So apparently kind of an alternative. For we know the methods of the devil. The word of God says, do not suffer a witch to live. Obey. If you fail to obey one commandment, you have failed in them all. So far, I am failing. Tukufana kuraya wa Roy. Like kufaje. Jonathan Moyo, sir. Shocking return, or should we say, not shocking, return kudzoka kunge bodoro re Coca-Cola. Zimbabwe's key propagandist and now Twitter firebrand is hinting at a political return just before Zimbabwe's 2025 elections. Now, in this, we're going to be breaking down the real reasons behind Jonathan Moyo's sudden visibility. Is he planning a comeback? Can we say a political comeback? Remember, Jonathan Moyo would be the man behind the scene, spin doctoring. Is there anybody pulling the strings? Pulling the strings as in puppeteering, or pulling the strings as in kuti Chirimuna June kudonza tambo zepa juice remwe munu kuti riridunuke. Have these guys now opted to bring in the Jonathan Moyo, the political comeback that nobody expected? Jonathan Moyo would go from mastermind to mind the master. Now you are a fugitive. From echo chamber to exile. And now Jonathan Moyo wants back in. Professor Jonathan Moyo, former information minister, architect, of ZANU-PF propaganda, once the spin doctor behind Mugabe's legacy, and later one of the fiercest critics of the regime that replaced him. He would vanish following the 2017 coup. It was a heated exit following the coup. Everything was not cool. Apparently, he was not cool with the guys who would have taken over power. They said, "Ainyanya kufraya beans," so they had beef with him. So Jonathan Moyo would chicken out and refuse to be a sheep. Now would be only an ordinary any political party supporter. Now he flees into exile. While in exile miles away, we see him tweeting from afar, dropping political bombs from behind the scenes, wowing the social media mobs. Of course, from the X street, now in mid-2025, whispers have grown into roars. Moyo is hinting at a return to Zimbabwean politics. But here in Zimbabwe, only one lion roars, and everybody knows that lion is the crocodile. He is hinting at a return, not just as a spectator, but as a player, inspecting political specs and layering every aspect. As a player, press play, pause. Why and who is backing him? Some say it's strategic. Some say it's pathetic desperation. One thing is certain. He is not allergic to testing the waters. Maybe he might work magic. And who gains to gain? Who stands to gain? And who falls to lose? If Moyo returns, the political calculus shifts. Will he rejoin ZanuPF? Jonathan Moyo is said to be the Einstein of Zimbabwean politics. Will he ally with the opposition, rejoin ZanuPF, or form his own faction or faction? For Mnangagwa, it's a fact. It's a potential threat. For Chamisa, an unlikely wild card. But should he discard any strategies? Should things turn out like so? And as for ordinary Zimbabweans, vari kunwa madrink nevari kunwa maskad, maybe just more drama from yesterday's men. Is he now yesterday's man? There were rumors that he is eating Sazarai Kenya. Akati nya ariku Kenya. Right now we're seeing in Kenya, there is protests. Munyika ya William Ruto. And the Ruto anyanya kurutao. Akuturala to State House as Twitter Ruto. Anyways, sometimes politics is like playing state lotto. Most of the times they win. Now, back to Jonathan Moyo. Some call him brilliant. Some call him dangerous. but nobody ignores him. Is he seeking redemption or distraction or distraction? Is this a political comeback? Come back home and help us, man. Remember, you would begin in the opposition and we would recruit you into the ZANU-PF. One thing we know, Jonathan Moyo doesn't move without a master plan. What do you think? Is Zimbabwe ready for his return from the hills of exile, heading straight to the headlines? Maybe anekafamu kake somewhere who headlands kana deni kuna na highlands kuna na borodale. We know these guys, they do actual borodale. Isusu, we just do the borodale dance. Chete. In the meantime, anyways, kana ndafarisa zangu ndinozomboita apo ndio dance rekufarira chingwa chine maavo. Dr. Clarence hotter than kasadza kadete. I'm going to sign out right about now. Be a blessing, be the mouth of God, be the hand of God. Do good by actually doing it. What good is good for if it is not through doing it? If it is not through works, is it worth calling good? And ladies and gentlemen, it feels good to be good. Like the good spirits inside you, the Holy Spirit, not the evil spirit. When you do something good, ladies and gentlemen, when you do something good, my spirits are my worry. Some of them, we call them my hormones. Some of them, we call them my hormones. My organic compounds, like dopamine, serotonin, aromatic compounds. Most of them, they got a benzene ring. Quitting we China, no? We China iwani. Is it cortisol, the stressor hormone? Only that one. That is the only link that Lucifer can have with people. Don't worry. That mood, chete. Remember, the devil can connect to somebody through a mood, through emotions, electric motions, heart rate, things like that. Ladies and gentlemen, big up to Pangi's guy, Annie. Big up everybody who was watching us live right about now. Fellow Zimbabweans, when I begin a live broadcast, I would like to go even 4, 5, 6 hours, ladies and gentlemen. But usually, I like giving lectures. But environment in Zimbabwe, lectures. But we always be giving tips here and there. Like if you note the way I deliberately enunciate my words, the reason why I'm doing this is just spreading the formula. That is all it is to understanding the meaning of words in any language. Like on the screen, we're showing the word return. Return, train, turn. Like the word itself gives its meaning. Shock. Shock. All of a sudden, there is peace and calm. Then there is a oak, like from oak. Shock. from where we get serpent, Satan, like Satan anonyangira. Then ok, kunjema, like block, lock, cock. Then we get the word shock. Then we get the meaning of the words. Any language. We are human beings. We are natural intelligence. At AI. We call them languages, but languages are not languages. We only have language. My genre is a language. So one can understand any language. That's why I usually give it. Aninga abata. But Zimbabwe manje. Some say it's coming from Zimbabwe. Like if we go kunana, is it Dutch? Zimbabwe, meaning sympathy, power. There is no sympathy. It's empty. Sympathy. That's how they would enter the symposium. Remember, we have my way to find a symbiosis, but there is a symbiosis where we get the word like Simba. The symbiosis is a cooperation. Then we get an ecosystem, but there is symbiosis where two things are not necessarily dependent, but they interact. Sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. When you do good, it's recorded inside you. When you steal from somebody, value or life or health, get out of you. It's written in your body, in your DNA. And it's being written because my feelings, take note of the word feelings. Those spirits, my dopamine, my happy hormones, those are the ones that write things in our muscle memory. Remember, check it as DNA. When you learn to play a guitar, you just be playing. Then your muscles will just be remembering. Everything about you is in your DNA. Every information about you. Fungwa is just an operating memory, like memory computer. It's not a storage memory data. Storage memory data is the carbon in our bodies leading up kuna food. Food is not keratin. Somewhere there. Anyways, fellow Zimbabweans, I'm going to sign out.
Patriarchy.